Thank you for joining us.
Today, I've had a request to teach how would you go about stages of practicing into forearm balance, or I believe my Sanskrit is correct that it's Pinchamariyasana. And I have practiced this pose for a long time, and I really do like it. But it does require certain opening in the chest and certain uh, capacity with the forearms, but we can also simplify it. The full pose is with the hands and the palms down, but often we just put the hands on the blocks like this. So it's good to have a belt and a block. I'm going to use 2 blocks for the first pose, but you can do without. But if you have 2 blocks, that would be really helpful. So let's begin. So the first pose we're going to do is the chest opener that we do often. I also recommend, I've got a chair. I can show you a few ways to work with the chair. So I'm going to set up my blocks. We've done this many times before, if you've done my videos, for the chest opener. And I have 2 blocks set up on their height, and one is just going to be here between my lower part of my shoulder blades down here, and the second block is for my head. If I can find it. There we go. The reason it's good to have 2 blocks is that you can reach your elbows up and press your hands into the block. It's also a good idea to really engage your legs here. But you can start with just the arms down to the ground. A few breaths here to really get that chest lift. And then you can, if you have that second block, you can bring the arms overhead. If you don't have the second block and your head's up, you can still keep your head a little forward, depending on your neck. You can maybe put your chin to your chest, but you can still reach with the hands and the elbows. And then you can release that and just come up to sitting for a moment, just to see if you can really feel how that does open the chest. And then we'll just bend the knees and come down again. And this time, you're going to take the block, so it's that widthways, and just bring it over your head with the elbows pointed up to the ceiling. Stretching out the arms, feeling. So here in this pose, the intent is to press the hands into the block. So I can show you from this angle. You really press those hands into the block. You lift the elbows up to the ceiling, and you really engage those biceps into the shoulder blades, and see if you can feel the triceps move into the elbow tips. And then see if you can feel how your shoulder blades move down towards the waist. And then release that. I don't know if you could feel that there's quite a bit of energetic work there in terms of muscularity, so that you can just, if you're just starting to work on this pose, you can just start doing a few rounds of this, just getting those arms engaged and what that feels like. And it also may help you stretch the forearms. So now we're going to roll over to the belly and be prone. And you're going to bring the elbows together, hands together, and just walk the elbows out and see if you can get that stretch through the armpits. And have your legs engaged so your hamstrings come into the sit bones. And a couple of breaths here. And then come back up and come onto your hands and your knees. And we're gonna, you can bring your block in here too. You're gonna feel, this is when again, that first pose, that second pose we did with the block overhead, you press the hands into the block. Feel those elbows coming out. Now you really want to be as parallel as you can with those forearms. And then first we're just gonna go into like a half plank here, because we need that core strength to hold us there. And this gives you the opportunity to work on the arm, shoulder part of the pose. And then come down and you can bring the sit bones back towards the heels. If you want to tuck the toes under, you can do that as well. And you want to make sure that you're not holding too much tension in the head. So then we'll do another half plank like this. And you can keep working on that in terms of in your own practice, how many rounds you do, just to see if you can build up that strength. And also when you start to build up the heat, it can allow you to stretch a little bit more, get a little more muscular range. And then for the next one, you're gonna come into the half plank, but then start to walk the feet up. Now this is where you might feel the resistance. You might feel like you're way back here. But the idea is you're trying to bring that back so that it comes further up and lines up here. So that if you were going to go upside down, if you're trying to go upside down from way out here, see, it's not going to go anywhere, but if I come closer in, I have more ability to lift. So that's a key to this pose. So you may be here for a long time working on walking the feet closer in. And this is also something you can practice at the wall as well. And then release that. And then I'll show you from the chair, but if you have a wall, you can use that as well. So this one is where I've got the block, same deal with the hands on the block. And then I'm going to bring my feet on the chair and come into like the half pose. So what you're trying to do is get the back coming, straight up and down, and the legs at this angle. And again, you may have to have the legs lower So it just depends on your capacity for that. So what I'm doing is putting my feet on the chair. Like, you can have the knees bent for a while and work on getting that back more upright. You really want to release the neck and then slowly come down. I can really feel the power in that pose. So just come up sitting for a second and have a few breaths here. We'll do what we did on the chair with the wall. So again, come to the wall, have your hands on the block. You can also practice with your mat out from the wall as well. And then try that pose where you walk your feet up and then come into that halfway place. And then you just stay as long as it feels comfortable for you. You might start to feel where it's difficult in your shoulders in that pose. And then, another way to gain confidence, and this can be true for headstand as well, working from the wall this way. This part of the pose is really walking the feet up the wall. And you stay here for a while. And then sometimes you can try to come in closer. But just doing that is going to help open those armpits some more. So try one or two of those variations, see what works for you. And then just have a little rest. Just sit for a minute. Because we don't want to just blow out the shoulders and all this. Actually, while we're sitting here, let's interlock the fingers and then bring them up over the head. And then release the arms down and change the crossover. And then release the arms down. And then you're going to take the block the opposite way to the wall. But you need to leave a little space so you can put your fingers on the outside so that your fingers don't get too crammed into the wall. So you don't want it right up against the wall, because then there's no space for your fingers, because you really want this part of your hand on the block. So you bring the hands back here again. Now you get to see my butt. And you come up again to this half downward dog-like pose, and then you just keep practicing walking those feet in to see if you can get the sit bones up towards the ceiling. And you hold it for a few breaths, really engaging those biceps. And then bend the knees down and have a sit for a bit, just to not be dizzy, just to regain your equilibrium. And we'll just do one more of these where, again, these are stages. I mean, I'm kind of taking you a little bit further on than maybe you're ready to go. So at least you know where you need to be in some of these stages. I am going to kick up because the wall's what gives you confidence in this pose. I can kick up from the mat and sometimes be able to hold it for a few breaths, but that's more challenging right now because I have a little bit of a niggle and a hamstring. So I'm going to use the wall, but I'll just show you how I kick up. And I think this is a good basic hand position, even though I said the position does become this eventually. So return to the wall. You can go into that previous pose like so, or if you want to try an adventure to kick up, you kick one leg up and then the other, and the eyes look forward. And this is where you're going to feel the engagement of your abdominals and the line in your body. And then I'm coming down. So I stayed for a few breaths. And you can keep working that way. You can keep working trying to get the feet off the wall a little bit. See if you can find that balance. But again, you also have to have enough room through the shoulders and the head and the neck. And sometimes this is a really good pose for people who might have challenges with headstand because of their neck, or they don't, this one might be more accessible. So you can bring the hands on the side of the block, come up into like a downward dog pose with the arms down. You walk the feet in, kick up, and then I'm trying to bring my feet together with a tiny bit of flexion. Look forward, engage my body, my abdominals, legs, and then coming on down. And then, of course, you practice kicking up with different legs as well. So let's have a sit on the block so we can have a few arm stretches. So bring the arms up and bring the right elbow under the left for eagle arms. And then release that and bring the left one under. And release that. And then take your left arm behind your back. Inhale the right arm up. And wherever you can find, maybe you can't find the hands, but the space between your shoulder blades or base of your neck, just getting a bit of a stretch through the arms. And then release that and switch the hand behind and the elbow up top. And release that. And then just move your block over. And we'll do a downward dog. And here you can do a little bit of head shaking. And then bring the hands and feet towards each other. And slowly roll up to standing. And we'll just do a couple of standing poses to finish off the class. So standing poses help gain the strength and the flexibility for trying to approach things like forearm balance. So bring the right foot forward and the left foot back and just come into lunge warrior or warrior one. And because I think it felt good and I think it supports the pose we just did, we'll do right elbow under the left. And wherever you need that stretch, you can bring the elbows down a little bit, or you can bring them up a little bit. And then release the elbows down. Bring that back foot forward. And then bring the opposite leg back. And bring the left elbow under the right. And if you want to, you can bring the elbows up even more if you'd like. And then release the arms and bring that leg back. And then we'll bring the left leg back, bend the front leg, and place the forearm here. And come into Parsvakonasana. You can either bring the arm up, or you can keep it here, or you can leave it down, depending on where you are. Really using the legs, the feet to support you here. Release the arms, bring the back foot into Tadasana. A couple of breaths here. And then take your opposite leg behind. Bending the thigh, front thigh. Arm can stay down or can come up and over. Then release that side, bring the foot forward, standing in Tadasana. And take that left leg back again. This time we'll come into triangle pose. Really firming up those legs. Because in order to do Pinchamariyasana, you really need to know the strength in your legs as well. And if you're up to it, you can bring the top arm up. Slowly come up. Bring that back foot in. Stand in Tadasana. And take the other foot behind you. Engage those legs. Come into Utthita Trikonasana. Inhale, slowly come up, bring the back foot in, and then I'm going to come and stand in the middle of the mat. We'll do a few more balancing poses. So we'll come into tree first. So I can do mirror image, and you could stand on your right leg, bring your left foot up. Hands into prayer. And overhead if you're feeling stable. Release the arms and the foot. And then bring the other foot up. Hands into prayer. arms overhead. Release the arms and the legs. And then we'll do a little bit of King Dancer, because I think that has a nice little, stretch that relates to the forearm balance. So I'm going to bring up my right foot. You can bring up your left foot, whichever feels right for you. Now you can do an outside grip to the foot or the ankle, or an inside grip to the foot or the ankle. And you bring up the opposite arm and you really kick that foot. It gives a really good shoulder stretch. Kick that foot and that hand behind you. You might come a little forward, but we're just trying to get that front body stretch. And then slowly release that down. And then pick up the opposite foot, either an inside or outside grip, depending on your balance. Opposite arm up. Kick the foot in the hand. Stretch in the front thigh, front body. And release that side. And release the arm. And then come down to sitting. Actually, come down to lying down. We're going to do happy baby pose just to kind of do a front opposite body thing, since working on forearm balances are very enlivening. So now we want to start to calm the body down a bit. So bring the knees, start to go towards the floor. You're trying to flex the feet up and hold the outer edges of the feet. And then release the feet and hold on to one thigh while you straighten the other thigh out. And then bring that foot into the inner thigh, and we'll do a little twist here. Back up, change sides. Bring the foot into the inner thigh and a bit of a twist. And then slowly release that. And if you're able to do feet up the wall or feet in the chair, it's nice to do a little bit of an inversion, since the opposite way, since we did the more extroverted inversion with Pinchamariyasana. So whichever pose you can do for Shavasana, it's nice to do an inversion with the feet up the wall, legs in the chair, something under your sacrum, just to go into the softer version of an inversion. And inversions are great because they reverse the blood flow, and your heart does not have to work so hard. As the veins in the legs use gravity to bring the blood back to the heart, so then it can be nourished again through the heart lungs and get oxygen. So you can think about yoga as a way of really oxygenating your blood through all the different poses in different ways, in different directions. And see if you can imagine the blood in all parts of your body being able just to flow softly into your heart and your lungs, and gain nourishment through that carbon dioxide and oxygen exchange. And see if you can begin to feel a lightness in your toes, feet, legs. And then from your fingertips through your arms into your shoulders, a lightness. And then can you feel the breath really moving through the whole torso, from the shoulder girdle through the pelvic girdle. And then the throat and the neck and the head and the face soften. And then slowly begin to reawaken your toes, your fingers. You can give your body a nice big stretch. And slowly move to your right side. You can come up to sitting. And may you take this lightness of being with you today, even if you're in the dark part of the year, or even if you are having a difficult day. There's always a little bit of light there to help you on your way. Many blessings and namaste.
thank you for watching and joining us.
Namaste.